Everybody, Shannon Petrovich with Therapist Talks. Narcissistic fluffing. One of my viewers asked me what I thought about fluffing the narcissist, and I have to say I find this technique really cringy. I'll tell you why and what to do instead. Fluffing the narcissist refers to zeroing in on what the narcissist wants or needs and giving them that supply for the purpose of getting what you want from them. Whether what you want is to buy time to sort out a plan to get out of that relationship, or to get something from a work colleague, or to placate a family member who's a narcissist, fluffing is basically shining them on to get what you want or need in the moment. It is being advised as a short-term strategy to downgrade the power of the narcissist, to placate and calm them down, and to satiate them for a time, essentially to manipulate them. The strategies include compliments, validation, appreciation, with examples such as, "I'm so lucky to have you," "You look so good," and "We're so lucky to have you on this team," things like that. Although I get the rationale, I think this is really ill-advised and dangerous for a number of reasons. In my work with clients who are in relationships with narcissists, I see them fluffing instinctively. And this is actually the first thing I want to help them to stop doing. When you're raised by a narcissist or you're involved in a relationship with a narcissist, these are natural survival responses. And they've probably helped you in survival to some degree, but I never want someone to continue these strategies. This fluffing, placating, enabling, emboldening, and empowering of the narcissist essentially perpetuates your own degradation beyond any benefit it may give you. You're disempowering yourself and continuing the cycle of their tantrums and your trauma bonding, and you're solidifying your own perspective as the victim. You see, in your relationship with the narcissist, you have likely found yourself noticing every nuance of their mood and emotion and obsessively trying to make everything perfect to keep them peaceful, happy, and prevent them from being upset. This response, again, is normal. It's a normal reaction to their behavior, but it's also what creates your own stress reactions and overall self-destruction. Understanding this relationship dynamic is critical to getting healthy within yourself and not allowing the narcissist to control you, your emotions, and your life. So let's take a deep look at this cycle. Narcissists want what they want when they want it, and they're either being pumped up like a hot air balloon or they're getting upset and blowing it up or imploding or exploding. As their stress increases, their voice changes, their pressure on you becomes more focused and intense. You can feel your body beginning to react. You feel more tension throughout your body, feel more anxious, maybe panicky, upset. You're feeling trapped and maybe dreading what's coming. If you've been in this relationship a while, you may notice you respond in either fight, flight, or freeze. Often the next step is that you begin frantically fluffing or placating them, and you might try to do something or say something that you think might shift their moods and emotions. In your desperation to placate their emotions, what are you sacrificing? In a nutshell, you're losing your entire self. When you focus all your attention on another's emotions, moods, and all your energy on managing their moods and emotions, you're losing touch with your own. You're also busying yourself, scrambling to make them happy at the cost of doing anything for yourself. When the placating works temporarily, you may breathe a sigh of relief, but then the process starts all over and you find yourself in this continual cycle of stress, placating, relief, stress, placating, relief. When this becomes your life, the cost can be profound. We know that chronic stress destroys your immune system, tears down your emotional and mental health, and it programs you to be laser focused on someone else's well-being and not have any awareness or care towards your own. If, despite your fluffing and placating efforts, the narcissist explodes or implodes into that tantrum or implosion, the threats towards you and others, or even towards themselves, they often emotionally tear you down, shower you with insults, degrade you, devalue you. They destroy your sense of self-worth. They often blame you for their behavior too, saying that if you had just done this or hadn't done that, that they wouldn't have been upset. In this blaming, they're abdicating any responsibility for their own emotions and pressuring you to take on all the burden of their emotions. This usually causes you to tear yourself down internally, blame yourself, feel that maybe you should have done this or shouldn't have done that. And this continues that cycle. You often commit yourself to more placating, more fluffing, and deeper levels of self-degradation and self-denial. Over time, this causes you to bury yourself deeper in the muck of this dynamic. Often at the end of a blow-up, there's a bit of a honeymoon period. That calm and warmth that you feel is so welcome after the storm that you'll do anything to keep it. So you push yourself, your emotions and needs and wants, even deeper down into the abyss, closing off to anything for you and fluffing up the other person. So what are some healthier options? As I said before, if there's any way to get free and go no contact with a narcissistic personality, this ultimately is going to be healthier for you. But if that's not possible, here are other strategies. It's always important to be decent and kind to everybody, but recognize that the emotional maturity of this personality disorder is very limited. In many ways, it's helpful to look at this dynamic like you're dealing with a 3-year-old tantrum in a larger, scarier body. As we talk about how to take care of yourself, this perspective is really helpful. So when a kid tantrums, it's because they didn't get their way. Your job as a parent is to give them appropriate boundaries to help them grow and mature. You know they have to have tantrums sometimes to test those boundaries, and you have to ride out that tantrum without giving in. You know you have to stay calm, not engage in their fit, and have solid boundaries. We know not to take anything personally. We know not to give in and not to throw anger back at them, really, and not to think that their fit is our fault. We know that placating or fluffing a screaming child is to invite much more of that behavior. So even though it's really hard to tough it out, we put them in a timeout, we breathe, we calm ourselves, and we walk away. In dealing with a narcissist, we need that same perspective to help us protect ourselves from that emotional destruction. So when we see that a fit is brewing and they're not getting their way, we need to recognize it's not our fault. It's not something we did or didn't do. It's only their reaction to a reality or a boundary they don't like. Placating them or fluffing them is not healthy or helpful to our sanity or even to their growth. When we fluff, we lose ourselves, but we also deny them any opportunity to look at the truth of their actions, the reality of the boundary they're avoiding, and realizing that they're responsible for their emotions, reactions, and responses. When we stop taking responsibility for their emotions and reactions, we won't feel so deeply damaged by them. So what does this look like in steps? Number 1, stay in your own skin. Don't let yourself get carried away into their emotions. If they're starting on that roller coaster, you stay off. Stay present within yourself. Check in with yourself. If you're getting anxious, breathe, self-calm. I've actually done a few videos on self-care and self-calming. Don't think it's your job to take care of that, their calmness. It's not. It only makes you sick when you engage in that. Resist the temptation to do any placating or fluffing. Again, this is natural and instinctive, but it's not healthy. Fluffing might allay your anxiety in the moment, but in the long term, it keeps you enmeshed. You can give them sort of a grown-up timeout by leaving, distancing, or hanging up the phone. You can say something or say nothing at all. Just walk. If you want to say something, make it short, clear, and concise. I can see this isn't going anywhere. I'm going to hang up now or leave or go for a drive or take off. You can call me when you're feeling up to having a calmer conversation. Realize that when you do this, your anxiety will initially increase. You'll feel afraid of what they're going to do and what they'll think or feel about you, and you might lose your focus. So breathe, calm down, remind yourself this is really important and you need to take care of you, not them. Consciously disengage from their roller coaster of emotions and focus on you. If they begin to escalate again, do the same thing. Be a broken record. Say the same thing, keep the same boundary. You can say something further like, I'm not going to let you talk to me that way. Call me when you've calmed down. And finally, remember that Al-Anon slogan, you didn't cause this, you can't control it, and you can't cure it. Remind yourself of this often. You might need to say it to yourself over and over in the beginning. It's their job to mature to a place where they take care of their own emotions if they want to, but if they don't, oh well. You're not going to participate in any way, and you're not going to allow yourself to be trashed or enmeshed. In summary, I believe that in being kind and decent to everyone, even when they're not to you. But fluffing takes it to the next level of being manipulative and fake, and it isn't healthy for you. Being with the narcissist can become physically, emotionally, and mentally devastating to you when you engage in fluffing them, placating them, and in any other way taking care of their emotions. Your fluffing keeps you caretaking and focusing on them, and it keeps you in that instinctive survival mode that makes you sick and helps them stay in denial and immaturity. You can keep yourself safe and sane through healthy boundaries and self-care. It's tough at first, and your anxiety might initially escalate, but over time, having good, solid boundaries is empowering, relieving, and it gives you back your life. If you've appreciated this video, please like and subscribe, hit the bell notification, and share it on your social media so that somebody else might get some help too. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you again soon.